Good afternoon, everyone. The National Council of Negro Women, New Haven section, celebrates Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The National Council of Negro Women, founded in 1935 by Mary McLeod Bethune. In 1935, when NCNW was founded, Martin Luther King was 6 years old. Later, mentoring greatness, Dr. Benjamin E. Mays was the president of Morehouse College, and he was the mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King, who began Morehouse at 15. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune was a mentor to Dr. Dorothy Height, who became the long-standing president of the National Council of Negro Women. NCNW President Height met Dr. King as a teen at Morehouse and envisions the future leader. Here's Dr. King at an event at Morehouse, and here are the two of them together several years later as Dr. King begins to lead the Montgomery community. NCNW and the Montgomery bus boycott. Prior to Dr. Height, Dr. Vivian Mason was president of NCNW and was very active in collaborating on movements and strategies about the Montgomery bus boycott and other civil rights actions. The Montgomery bus boycott, the prayer pilgrimage for freedom, all those events and others were collaborative events NCNW participated in or supported. Here you see Vivian Mason, the president of NCNW, at an event supporting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as he speaks on the issues of the day. In the March on Washington, the NCNW played a pivotal role in organizing and recruiting for the March on Washington, bringing together the force of many women's organizations to design operations including communications, transportation, fundraising, and strategizing, helping to carry out and make the great success that the March on Washington became. Wednesdays in Mississippi, ebony and ivory and pearls and hats. This was a movement, though not in Alabama, was a movement for civil rights that garnered much attention, and it's in its day by becoming an organization that brought together Black and white women very quietly to investigate, report, and address social justice issues. The NCNW fundraised from the Montgomery bus boycott and invited Mrs. Rosa Parks to speak at its annual convention, which ended up developing a lifelong relationship between Dr. Height and Mrs. Parks, among others. Today, what we are doing within social justice has shifted in some ways, but remain the same. Included, we now inform, educate, and advocate. The COVID-19 virus has shown the ugly head of racism in many, many ways, the injustices and social injustices. Voter suppression showed its ugly head during this 2020 election. And racial bias is an ongoing underpinning of all of these things. The African American Women's Summit is a summit founded by the National Council of Negro Women 25 years ago, and we continue to provide programming by collaborating with several other women's organizations to bring information and education to the larger community. NCNW took time to ensure that there was ongoing updates about COVID-19 in the community by collaborating with other organizations such as Keepsake Connecticut Incorporated. Voter registration. Voter registration became and civic engagement, voter education, voter registration, civic engagement, all significant throughout time and has certainly become a major issue in the 2020 election. Georgia became a center of much after the 2020 presidential election for the 2 Senate races, and here we are, NCNW, fully engaged nationally in this activity. Encouraging women to vote. Sisters, vote as though your life depended on it. Voting is the one right that everyone in the United States of America who is a citizen has. Voting. Everyone should vote. That is the mantra, the message that we want to encourage. And getting out the vote was really, really important. Therefore, phone calls, mailings, whatever it took, many NCNW members around the country and in New Haven were actively involved, again, supporting the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We continue to be involved and engaged in social justice in areas such as health and wellness. The National Council of Negro Women developed a Stop Period Poverty campaign in 2020 and encouraged giving to the needs of women as they continue to manage their feminine hygiene needs. We gave out supplies at food pantries, food events at malls, at shopping centers, excuse me, at shopping centers, and we gave to shelters and on the streets of the city in various neighborhoods. Our leader, Dr. Dorothy Height, always reminded us that it was important to make sure that our lives meant something. And her quote from her says, "I want to be remembered as someone who used her life, herself, and anything she could touch to work for social justice and freedom. I want to be remembered as one who tried." Dorothy Height said these words to encourage us to do all that we can. NCNW is still in the forefront, joining forces to make the dream a reality. Today, NCNW continues to be in the forefront for the fight for social justice through movements such as Sisters United for Reform. This movement consisted of 13 national organizations that came together as one of the largest coalition of African American leaders to address the issues of social injustice, racial injustice, voter rights, voter registration, voter education. The King relationship, the King legacy in NCNW continues as the King Center honors the NCNW president, Dr. Johnetta B. Cole, with the King Center's beloved community awards. The Coretta Scott King Soul of a Nation Award will be presented to Johnetta B. Cole on January 16th. NCNW is committed to moving forward in the area of social and racial justice. Forward is the only direction for justice. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." NCNW is committed to moving forward as we continue to celebrate, honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King by continuing to be active and engaged in our community to bring about justice and to bring about betterment for all in our communities. Thank you.